if we're going to trial the product and prove to the industry, it probably is the hardest site to clear. A lot of field work's been carried out here by different government bodies, and the rats have been tested and they've been proven that they are resistant to second generation rodenticides. On the site at the moment, I estimate there's anything up to about 2,000 rats with the amount of burrows that we've got around the shed. There's live rats inside, which we can show you, that are feeding behind the actual pig feeders. We've got an abundance of infestation out here, and obviously what's happening is we're going into the feed areas. The rats have actually undermined the foundations of the building by burrowing. So what we're going to do today is set up a map of all the burrows right the way around and bait up on the inside of the pigsty. Okay, the area we've come into now is the pig sty area. Anyway, it's where the animals are stored. Again, you've got an abundance of food for the rats. It's more or less everywhere. And you've got a vast spillage on the floor. In our treatment, it's essential that this food source is taken away. It's very important. Good housekeeping is going to help in the radio rat gaining control of the site. The problem we've got here is immense. Spillage, heavy infestation, resistance. I think it's every pest control's nightmare now. Okay, so what we're looking for is initial clean-up of the building. So let's take away their source of food. Ideally, what we'll be looking for is to put in about 50 bait stations, or as we'll say from now on, feeding points. Because that's actually what we're doing. We are feeding the rodent. We're turning the rodent around, making it rely on the radio rat as a source of food. Previously, before we radio rat, you can appreciate how hard it was for the pest control industry. With using a toxic bait in here, you're putting the animals at risk, and in some respects, if the bait's not looked after, you're putting people at risk. But let's look back and see what's been happening in the past. You've got resistance here, documented by government and also by university. The only product that was used outside, according to the farmer, was zinc phosphate. A very, very toxic product, especially when you're using it in and around animals. Secondary poison obviously is a main concern. Inside, again, you're restricted to using acute poisons because you've got the pigs no more than 6 or 7 foot away in the pens. What happens if the pig feeds on a dead rat? Secondary poison again. It's everyone's nightmare. We'll talk about the pros of e-radio-rat. E-radio-rat. It's a natural product. Alpha cellulose, 1% molasses. We can digest it. The rats can't. Nor mice. With this new product, e-radio-rat, you can take away the concerns of using a rodenticide, being that it is natural. If you do have a rat that dies in the actual pigsty and the animal eats it, you've got no secondary poison. If you've got any product that does fall or come into contact with the pigs, again you will not have a problem, meaning the pig can digest the cellulose. So on the health and safety side of things, it's an immense breakthrough. What we're doing here is we're highlighting the holes, putting in a cane. Steve's putting canes in through, so we know where the burrows are and where we are. When we come back, we can bait them. You can see what's happened here. The rats have actually undermined this garden. It's actually come quite a way down, and they're actually harbouring underneath the garage. So it'll be an area where we're going to carry out quite intensive baiting. From here, they'll be travelling more or less straight across to the pig feed areas where the pens are. So it's migration right the way through the site. This is why it's important to get on top of the rat infestation here. What we're doing now, we're bagging up the ready rat. We're probably using about 50 grams per bag, and we can actually dispense these down the rat holes. So that's the idea. The more they feed on it and the burrows, the less active they'll be to come out. So we'll create a nice feeding station to bag the holes as many times as possible on visiting the site. As soon as the bag goes, new bait down. Again, remembering that it's not a toxic bait, it's a food source, so you have to use an abundance of it. How long have you had a problem on the site? How many years?
We had a problem with rats since 5-6 years ago. Yes. We have lots of brown rats and approximately 30-40% of black rats.
What products have you used in the past?
We have we have had all sort of products, all different sort of products. Because once we used one product, then suddenly we realized that using that product we had more rats even. So we changed our product to kill them with another product. But that didn't work at all. And for safety, that's the biggest question in breeding horses, and for cats and dogs and so on. And for horses. And on top of it, it's very difficult to have products which are very toxic. So a horse is an animal which is you have to take care of it on toxic products. So it's very, very difficult to use a traditional product.
And on your stud farm, we've got world champion horses, which yes, you're very concerned about. At present, are you happy with the way the treatment's going and the way that the brown rat have been eliminated?
Oh yes, I admit that brown rat has been eliminated within approximately 3 weeks.
Yeah.
The black one is a little bit more difficult, but the brown rat is gone, completely gone, and we had hundreds of it. I may say even thousands of them.
Would you recommend this product to fellow stud farm owners?
Oh yes, absolutely, yes, absolutely. This is a marvelous product because first of all it's harmless to horses, it's harmless to dogs, it's a good product.
This is Mr. Derek Gradwell from Hunt Pest Control, which currently service in Belgium, Holland, France and the UK. Mr. Gradwell is the technical director, and what we'll do today is just ask him the benefits of the Ready Rat product.
No problems. The main reason we tried the Ready Rat product first, Kim, was because of the problem here with the horses. Some of the horses here are extremely expensive horses, and with secondary poisoning going around with the wildlife, birds and so forth, we needed a solution. And the first solution we came up with was when I spoke to you in the UK concerning the Ready Rat.
With the treatment ongoing at the moment, we've already noticed the eradication of the Norvegicus, the brown rat.
That's a fact, that's a fact. Over the last, I think we've been working on this now approximately 6 weeks. we've gone through approximately 40 kilos, I think, and the brown rat, I think, was eliminated within the first 3 to 4 weeks. But here in Belgium, it's a little bit different environmentally and biologically, because we have a big problem with the black rat, the Rattus rattus, as you know. And they are a much more aggressive type here, and much more dominant than the brown rat. It is going, there is no doubts about it. It is going, and it's diminishing somewhat, but it will take a little bit longer than the brown rat.
And do you feel it's an advance in the pest control industry for the ready rat?
Massive. You know as well as I know. Certainly in the UK, it's going now more non-toxic. Food factories, they're dead against it. Even with organic farming, you can see how things are going. And the same's happening here now on the continent. The same's happening here in Belgium, France, Holland, Germany, Luxembourg. We're going the same way. So if anyone can come up with a product that is non-toxic, totally harmful, but yet still does the job with rodents, and I think everyone in the industry should sit up and take notice.
And you would give your customers the option of the products, the toxic and the...
There's certain situations where we're still going to have to use toxic. That's normal. But I would think the majority of places, when you come to places like this, stud farms or pig stalls, where there's a real possibility of secondary poisoning, then I think this now is not going to be an alternative. I think it's the one thing we're going to use. Not as an alternative, but as a product.
So it's a step forward, and Hunt will be using Ready Rat in Europe?
Definitely so. As we've already discussed, we've had it on trial here and it's worked. We're now in discussion with some other clients to use it there. We'll train up a few more technicians to use it, and I think it'll be okay.
The problem on this site is mice, mainly mice, running into the thousands. In one alpha-chlorelose kill, we killed 800 plus mice. Well, I got issued with a drum of bait, and I decided that where we'd seen the mice, mainly on the feed chutes and in the control room areas, that I would put the bait where I saw the mice. In doing this, within 3 days we'd halved the population. Within a week we'd killed the population, and we haven't seen, apart from the odd mouse, which you would see here, surrounded by farmland, we haven't seen any activity since.
Until the 1950s, most rodent control was achieved either from the use of acute poisons or from trapping. But the breakthrough came with the discovery and release of warfarin, the very first anticoagulant. And it owes its origin from a study of hemorrhagic disease in cattle in the United States of America. And they discovered that the disease was caused by the animals eating mouldy clover hay. The product within the hay, which they called coumarin, inhibited the production of blood clotting factors, and therefore when capillaries or other blood vessels ruptured during the normal active life of an animal, the capillaries and vessels were not sealed by blood clots. Well, this is a young rat that was collected from a site which recently had anticoagulant treatment. It would not be unusual to find blood around the nostril area, where some of the capillaries in the nasal passage had ruptured. It looks in quite good condition. The one thing that is already very obvious, which is characteristic of animals that have been killed by anticoagulant poisoning, is this extremely pale liver. The action of anticoagulants is to prevent the clotting of blood. This is the stomach. And you can see blue chyme, which originates from the blue dye commonly used in anticoagulants. Now, if a non-target species, a predator or a predatory bird like a kite were to come down and eat a sick animal, then obviously the stomach contents could also be ingested, and eventually the animal could die of secondary poisoning. What we have in the thoracic cavity is an accumulation of blood. So obviously one of the blood vessels in that area has actually ruptured, and there's been no clotting agent available to seal the vessel and stop the animal quite literally from bleeding to death. Well, this specimen we just collected from a barn adjacent to pigsties, where the treatment with Delmar product has been undertaken. And immediately we can see the beautiful red liver compared to the pale organ that we saw in the other rat. The heart, the lungs in perfect condition, the stomach, which is quite small, the gut looks quite distended but very soft. If you open the gut, it's full of white quite hard material. This part is the cecum. Stomach contains very little actually, except sort of watery matrix. Other part of the gut also contains quite a dark, watery mass. And we can clearly see that there is no deposit of adipose tissue, as one would have expected for this time of year. One misconception within the industry is that this product is a so-called gut buster, but I think this specimen clearly suggests that that is a misnomer. Certainly there's no ruptured vessel as we encountered in the anticoagulant poisoned animal.
Today we're on a site in northwest Berkshire that has got a history of resistance to second generation rodenticides. 6 weeks after our final visit to the site, we've come back again just to see if we've got any reinfestation. As you look around the site there, you can see the burrows themselves again aren't active. No reinfestation of rodents, no fresh droppings, there's no runs at all, the site still is clear. When carrying out any pest control treatment, it is very important that the landowner or the maintenance company carry out appropriate hygiene cleaning. In not cleaning, such as the area we have here, we're encouraging ingress onto a site. So, working hand in hand, pest control and the landowner, we can work to get rid of the infestation. And good maintenance practices in hygiene will always allow pest control to be successful on sites. Eight weeks into the treatment now, using the Irradirat, baiting the inside of the buildings, approximately 35 bags of the product has been used on site. We've had complete take in some areas. On the burrows we've had very good takes with the product, and also we've had the droppings turning to the blonde colour which you would expect when using the product itself. On this site is estimated that we're not hundreds, but we are talking of thousands of rats. We inspected the back of the piggery where on previous visits rats were quite freely seen running around inside the units. Today 2 live rats were observed in the unit itself. One of the most important aspects in carrying out a pest control treatment on a site like this, with the vastity that there is of area, is to use perimeter bait boxes. Because we also have free range animals, creating a void, which we are doing, we are getting mass migration of infestation. So one of the most important points in carrying out rat control programs on sites such as this is to use the perimeter bait stations or bait feeding points. Also, during the treatment itself, we've had no secondary poisoning reported to us. No animal has suffered any illness, or we've had no death of any pets. Also, birds haven't been affected, and again this shows the positive ways in using the product Irradirat.
It's very important that the industry understands the use of the product. Being that it's not a poison or a toxic bait, it is a food source. So you have to present it in many areas where you find the infestation. Many areas of location. If you've got holes, happily go out, put bags, throw packs down the holes. feed the rats, basically you'll be killing them with kindness.
Now you've seen the benefits of the Irradia rat and the Irradia mouse products down there. I think for the food industry it has to be a must. It can offer you a complete non-toxic site, nice and green. You can say to your clients and customers, we've got no toxins on site. Again, if you're offering it to your customers or your clients, they're going to be asking you why.